We are going to hear from Mr. Louis Gagnon, and he actually had a a wild little turn of events. He wasn't able to join us this evening. He had a kind of conflict come up last minute, so he took the time to make a video, so we'll watch a recording. But Louis is a remarkable entrepreneur and corporate leader who's had amazing success with Monster, with Ride, with Amazon, with Audible, top level executive, and amazing marketing mind. And he's shifted all of his brilliance now towards wellness as the CEO of Total Brain. Johan mentioned briefly that is the largest database of neuroscientific data looking at brain health and wellness. And now they've created a product that allows one to optimize brain health and performance. So this is a person who has had all the success and is really dedicated to helping others have success day to day and moment to moment. So I hope everybody enjoys his words.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Louis Gagnon. I am the CEO of Total Brain. I am also a huge fan of Sky School, personal friend to Elon, Robin, Emil, and all these wonderful people trying to make a difference for the students of this country. And today I was asked to share a bit of my experience about Sky and about life in general. So I decided to make a little presentation on what makes our reality. Before I get into it, I'd like to introduce myself. So first, let's realize that I, like you, I'm a duck. What does that mean? On the surface, I maintain a positive version of myself. But beneath the surface, there is a different version going on. In fact, I'm peddling. I am trying to keep it together in real time, all the time. So what does my duck look like? On the surface, I'm that guy. I come from Quebec City. I played hockey all of my youth. I came to this beautiful Catholic schools built in the 1600s. I lived in 8 different countries in my adult life, 4 continents. I got to see the world. I got to meet great people. I am now leading a public company. I travel, I speak. I have a family, a wonderful family, 3 beautiful children, a dog, Ginger, and a house and a wife, Kathleen. And on the surface, I look like I have it pretty much together. But there is a beneath that surface. And beneath that surface, in December, 4 of 5 Gagnon Robinsons were actually sick with COVID at the same time. Worst, 3 months later, in March, I got, as a side effect of COVID, multiple pulmonary embolies, where I had 30% of chances of dying. And that is 2.5 months ago. I am unable to see my mother. It's been 1.5 years. She's in Canada, 90 years old, in a senior home, and I cannot visit. I cannot visit my sister, who is my closest sibling, who's recovering from an untreatable cancer. And I myself have been recovering. Only recently can I say that I have dealt with, in a very meaningful way, the trauma that I acquired when I was at the wrong place, the wrong time in the Rwandan genocide in 1994. So you must wonder, why am I sharing all of it? Why am I sharing the positive and the negative? Why do I want to talk about this? I want to talk about this because if we're going to talk about reality and how to make our reality, we need to understand that both the negative and the positive in our lives are the makers of that reality. Both. And it happens in a chain reaction that is absolutely fascinating to me, and I want to share it with you. So what's that chain reaction? Well, the opposite values of life happen. My daughter graduates from IHA, beautiful school in New Jersey, this weekend, or I got COVID in December. I will remember this. I will store it in my memory, and I will attach beliefs or life impressions to it. Example, my daughter's graduated with honors because she's my daughter and I'm a pretty smart guy. Or I got COVID because I'm the unlucky one. I'm always the one with the short hand of the stick. I've got no luck. This is me. I have 100 billion neurons in my brain storing every single nuance of everything that's happening all the time. So as something new happens, my brain goes into this memory, goes into this library of beliefs, and asks itself, how should I feel right now? Is that a good or a bad experience? So I get an emotion. I get 5 emotions per second. We are constantly emoting, and our emotions are going to trigger thoughts. We have 50,000 thoughts per day. Most of them will be negative. Why? And most emotions are negative as well. And why? Is because our brain is specialized as a radar to detect dangers. And so it is hyper-focused on what is not quite right, on what could be a threat, as opposed to what is right and what is wonderful. So we end up having a whole lot of negativity to deal with. And all of this is happening just unconsciously as we are reacting to life in front of us. Worst, our body is going to also react without us knowing or without us wanting it. It's all managed by something called the autonomous nervous system, which is involuntary. So now what happens to my body? I have an emotion, a thought that was triggered by an event, and I'm going to breathe differently. I'm going to breathe long if I'm happy and in love. I'm going to breathe short and intensely if I am in danger. My heart rate is going to vary the same way, long and irregular versus short and very regular. My endocrinal system is going to produce cortisol and adrenaline in one case, or it's going to produce beautiful dopamine in another case. My digestive system will activate or relax to free up energy so that I can focus on the task at hand. All of this beautiful mechanic is happening without me deciding. But it's going to influence what I actually decide to do, my actions, and ultimately my reality. Every moment that I live is influenced by that chain of event that I've just described. So every moment that I spend at school, at work, at home, is all predicated upon this chain of event. When I realized this was about 6 years ago, after I had a beautiful moment and an insight that has changed my life, given to me by Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, the yogi, probably one of the most prominent yogi on earth. Sri Sri made me realize something as I was starting to practice sky breath, and as I was learning all of this, I had this big insight, and that insight has changed my life. And what was that insight? Is that this is a dynamic system. The brain, the heart, the body, the mind, all of this is interconnected. It's dynamic. And because it's dynamic, we have a chain reaction. every part influences the other part. And what is absolutely fascinating is that most parts of that dynamic system is out of our control, with one exception, and that is what Sri Sri taught me. But let's go through this. I have the chain reaction here, and I don't control the events that happen. Hindus call it karma. Others will call it destiny. Things happen. I don't decide that COVID is going to stop or that I'm going to get it. It just happens. The emotions that are triggered, unconscious, comes from my memory and my beliefs. So do my thoughts. And now all of a sudden, my heart is going to beat in a certain way. I cannot change that. I cannot change my endocrinal system. I cannot say, hey, let's produce less cortisol, and all of a sudden I produce less cortisol. Digestive system, same thing. All of this is not part of our awareness. So our decisions, our actions, and our reality is largely influenced by things that we do not control. That's dramatic. But there is a wonderful insight, which is that we control one little bit in this whole complex system, which is our breath. We control our lungs. I am able to decide if I'm going to breathe long or short, if I do it in different sequence. And as I do this, physiologically, I am gaining agency, because that breath of mine is going to change my heart rate. It's going to change the blood flow. It's going to change the hormones. It's going to change the digestive system. And all of a sudden, I had a vicious circle that I did not know what to do with. And I took a stick and I put it in that circle and I said, stop. Physiologically, mechanically, with my breath, I was able to reverse a chain reaction. And hopefully now, I am able, with that physiological reaction, able to be more present. I feel relaxed. And when I feel relaxed, I feel less distracted by the past and the future. My memories play less of a role in this moment. I am more equanimous. I'm able to distance myself from what I am feeling, and therefore I am able to gain more agency. I am able to be less triggered in this moment, to change the triggering, to become a witness as opposed to being only in the scenery, to being a victim of what's happening in the movie. I can step back, I can watch the movie, and I can decide to change things on the go. That is what the breath and meditation allows us to do. And so we become more free to create a better reality for us. I experienced that firsthand. And for me, sky's the limit. Nice, cute play on word, isn't it? But really, it is sky is the limit. When I learned sky, when I was able to create this distance between the scenery and the seer, between me and what was happening in the world, when I was able to, in the moment, change the patterns of my breath so that I could relax myself and short-circuit my fight or flight, thanks to my lungs that is able in the dynamic system to reverse all of those chain reaction. When I learned that, I have learned how to live in a very different way, in a way where I am much more free, where I can give more intently, and where I can become the best that I am. And so it is an invitation, this small little testimonial of mine is an invitation to the youth and to the people who could make a difference for them to learn sky and to enjoy the freedom and to enjoy this agency to change the world, because God knows we need it. So on that, I want to wish you a very nice evening, and I hope that Sky will continue to do the work, the wonderful, necessary work that it does. Thank you. Bye.